Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars, welcome to another of my top 10 lists, and this is another top 10 list where I focus on found footage films. Now, many of you watching this who may watch my content already know that I'm a fan of found footage films. So I wanted to do another top 10 list to focus on them, and this time I am focusing on top 10 found footage films that you haven't seen, probably. And the reason why I say probably is, as I've mentioned, many of you watching this will be fans of found footage yourselves. Maybe you're watching this list to see if there's maybe a hidden gem or two in here that you haven't seen. And hopefully that's the case. Now, normally with my top 10 lists, I start at number 10, work down to number 1, and, 10 being the worst, 1 being the best. However, I'm doing it slightly differently on this top 10 list. I'm kind of listing them in order of what I think maybe the most popular. So at number 10, I'm putting a found footage film that potentially may have been seen by more people than the one at number 1, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I do hope you enjoy this list. If you've got any really good hidden gems of found footage films, fire them in the comments for us all, including myself, to look at, check out, and also check out my other 2 top 10 found footage lists that I've done on the channel, and there is a playlist on the channel dedicated to found footage reviews as well. So thanks for watching everybody, and I hope you enjoy this list. Okay, so coming in at number 10 on the list, and it was released in 2014, is a film called Digging Up the Marrow. Now this the premise of this found footage film essentially is you've got Adam Green, the real director who's directed things like Hatchet and things like that, and Frozen, was it? He directs this film and also stars in this film, and he's looking for evidence of monsters, and he is contacted by someone who claims to have evidence that monsters are real. So he heads out there with a documentary film crew and tries to capture footage of these so-called monsters that this guy claims live underground, that he has named the Marrow. So it's a really good, actually, found footage film, this one. There's some really good scares, some really good effects, and I think it's really, really effective. Definitely one that I would recommend if you haven't seen, for sure. So coming in at number 9 on the list is a found footage film called Alien Abduction. This was released in 2014, and this is amongst my favourite found footage films. I think on my second top 10 list of favourite found footage films, this might have been at number 1 or number 2, certainly, something like that. And this focuses on a family that go away for the weekend, like on a camping trip. And they then essentially are descended upon by aliens. And it's just really, really well done. There's some fantastic jump scares in this one. I've still got really fond memories of watching this with my wife. I'd already seen it before, but I watched it again with her, and she was constantly jumping out the sofa with all the jump scares in this one. It's just really well done, really very, very effective, and it's got some genuine scares in it, this one. So I strongly recommend this one if you haven't checked this one out. The poster isn't particularly enthralling, but the film is. Now, this next one was released in 2015, and it's Hell House LLC. Now, while I have reviewed the sequels, there's been 2 sequels to this one on my channel. This one was one of the early reviews that did it over at the Geek Legion of Doom channel, and I just loved this film so much. And it focuses on, like in the US, they've got like these haunted house locations, where they do like these weekend things over the Halloween weekend, and they set these houses up to scare people, all that kind of stuff. Well, you've got these people that set this business up at this house to scare all the public and this kind of stuff, but in actual fact, where they set up and do this, the building has a really dark past, and things start kicking off and getting very, very frightening. I remember watching this one and being really impressed with it. I've not been able to get hold of it. I'd love to get hold of this on Blu-ray. I don't think it's available, but very, very good film. The 2 sequels are okay, but nothing in comparison to the first one. Now, coming in at number 7 on the list is The Possession of Michael King. This was released in 2014, and it focuses on a guy called Michael King. He loses his wife, I think it's to cancer. And he's in a really dark place. He's got a young daughter, and he wants to prove that there's there's no such thing as God and all this kind of stuff, and he wants to disprove the spiritual and possession, everything. He's just, that's the place he's at in regards to psychologically. So he goes through all sorts of rituals and routines to try and get possessed, and unfortunately one of them actually works, and you see his slow decline into possession and madness, and it's just genuinely creepy and very, very frightening, this one, with a really solid, impactful end. It's just, I really like this one, and I think it's a bit of a hidden gem. Not enough people have seen it. Coming in at number 6, and this was released in 2007, the Poughkeepsie tapes. Now, I watched this a few years ago and reviewed it on the channel, and this is arguably the most disturbing and impactful found footage film I've ever seen. I remember it really quite upsetting me. It focuses on this really sick serial killer who kind of films everything, hence the Poughkeepsie tapes. He's got all these tapes with everything he's ever done, all the despicable acts and everything like that. And it's like a documentary style found footage film, this one. But it was made in 2007, it was released quite a few years after, because it was kind of shelved, and I don't think they knew what to do with it because it was just so unusual, really. It's just very, very good, very impactful. If you want to check something out that's going to freak you out, this will be the one. Coming in at number 5, and this was released in 1998, it's Alien Abduction Incident at Lake County. Essentially, this is the remake of the McPherson tape. Now, I didn't put the McPherson tape on this list because it's arguably one of the most famous found footage films, and certainly one of the earliest versions of a found footage film. Well, this was like the remake. The same director was given a bigger budget to kind of remake the McPherson tape, and he does it arguably, in my opinion, more effectively than the first one, because the first one is so low budget. You can't see a lot. Well, he's kind of got a bit better budget here, and he does a better job, I think. And this is a more effective film for scares. It's never been released in the cinema. I think it was a TV movie, and that's certainly where I first saw it in the UK, early in the morning one on the TV. But it's just really good. Coming in at number 4 on the list, and this was released in 2020, and this is one of the most recent that I reviewed on the channel. I think I only reviewed this maybe 6 months ago or something like that, and it's Godforsaken. It's just a really effective found footage film. It doesn't play with a genre, it doesn't try and do anything original or creative, really. It's just a really solid found footage film of this documentary film crew, this guy going back to his hometown to attend a funeral of someone that he knew, and then this person rises from the dead, and then everybody thinks there's all this kind of religious stuff going on, but in actual fact there's something far more sinister. Now, it follows, like I say, a very familiar pattern in regards to found footage, but I think what makes this one so watchable, certainly for me, was the chaos at the end. It's just absolute madness, and for me, good found footage is your eyes are everywhere, you can't really tell what's going on. This is great for that. Coming in at number 3 on the list, and this was released in 2021, a film called The Deep House. Now, this is an unusual found footage film in a sense of it does do something new and original with the genre, and this, for the most part, is all primarily filmed underwater. You've got these kind of 2 tourists that are looking for this very famous house that is like sunk to this bottom of the lake sort of thing. They're struggling to find evidence of it. They finally get their way to it. They head down to this thing to film it and document it, and guess what? All sorts of spooky stuff start going off. It's really nicely filmed. There are some really freaky moments in it, and it's got some good performances as well, and it's quite a unique setting as well. I've not really seen anything like this in regards to found footage, and it's just pretty nicely done, so I definitely want to check out if you haven't seen this one yet. And coming in at number 2, I'm going to put hashtag follow me. Now, this hasn't got very good scores if you look at it on IMDb and what have you, but I reviewed this when it first came out in 2019. I think I might have been sent the screener by the director or something like that. And I really enjoyed this. Again, it's a tick the box type found footage film. You've got these girls going over to America. One of them's a bit of a social media star. She got this hashtag follow me for all her fans, as she goes around the US on this road trip with her friends. But in actual fact, there's somebody sinister following them. Nothing unusual really into the setup and what have you. But what I really liked about this is initially I didn't like the girls in this, and then I got to know them. I built a relationship with them. I liked them, and then you get this massively brutal ending that just really shocked me. I thought it was really, really good. I think there's a sequel at some point, but I quite enjoyed this one. And coming in at number one, and I guarantee you possibly many of you, unless you really know your history in regards to found footage, won't have heard of this one. It's called 84 Charlie Mopic. It was released in 1989. Yes, that's right, 1989. And this isn't a horror found footage. This is actually based around the Vietnam War. So it's a bit of a different one. And I was sent the DVD of this by Leo over at Geek Legion of Doom. Watched it, reviewed it on the channel. Really enjoyed it. A very, very effective, different found footage film. Very gritty, quite violent, with realistic characters. And if you want to see a Vietnam War film that's depicted in quite a different way in the style of found footage, this will be a film that you will definitely enjoy. If you don't like found footage, if it's not horror, this won't be for you. But if you really want to check out something very different, I guarantee you will enjoy 84 Charlie Mopic. So there you go, guys. That is my top 10 choices of found footage films you may not have seen. Let me know in the comments if you have seen any of them, which of those are your favourites. And as I've said earlier, please, guys, put in the comments any hidden found footage films that you've got, any gems that you think more people need to check out. And of course, I will be back with loads more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.